let's go to Pretoria and bring in our reporter, Canny Maphanga. Canny, a very good afternoon to you. So, of course, a very busy day at the Commission and, of course, some heated moments too. Just speak to us about, in the main, around businessman Suleiman Karim's testimony. Of course, we know that the Commission ruled this morning against Karim's application, and that's how everything began, to testify in camera. Just bring us up to speed up to this point until where the Commission left off, and of course picking up tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m.
Indeed, good afternoon to you, Nati, and to the viewers at home. This was quite an interesting day at the Commission, which started with a few clashes between the Commission as well as the evidence leaders, but also saw the evidence of Suleiman Karim take interesting twists and now go into the realm of alleged money laundering and alleged tender fraud. So essentially what you're getting from Suleiman Karim, who in the main faces those very serious allegations of allegedly assisting alleged cartel member Vusimuzi Canny Maphanga with his SABC contracts to the tune of hundreds of millions. Then, of course, dealing in those confidential SABC information and allegedly receiving an alleged kickback to the tune of 2.5 million from Vusimuzi Canny Maphanga. Of course, as he gives his evidence in public after the in-camera testimony bid was refused, what essentially he sought to do was to eliminate police minister, who's now on a leave of absence, Senzo Mchunu, from the conversation altogether, and also paint Brown Makhotsi, the Northwest businessman, and Vusimuzi Canny Maphanga as two individuals who were playing him in these alleged transactions, and that he was allegedly, for lack of a better term, scammed by the pair who were playing both sides with respect to him. And he says that at all times when he was communicating in relation to the police minister, because he knows the WhatsApp message is there where he states that he sent the minister a particular message, he says that he was pretending in order to ensure that the 10 million that he had invested into that SABC contract was repaid by Vusimuzi Canny Maphanga. But of course, as phase 2 always goes, the evidence leaders seek to get to the bottom of what the most plausible version is. And as that exercise is currently taking place, we're beginning to see other features come into the evidence, which now delve into the realm of alleged money laundering and tender fraud. Now, if we look at the initial payment that takes place of 1.5 million from Canny Maphanga to Suleiman Karim, you begin to get an understanding of what possibly could have been going on here in this alleged dark web, rather, of a network of alleged criminality within the tender fraud space, and of course corruption and security firms, as explained by Lieutenant General Dumsani Kumalo when he gave that initial evidence to tell you how this alleged criminality does manifest in the alleged drug cartel world, and how it doubles up with legitimate business but has quite a significant feature of alleged criminality. And what we're seeing from that initial transaction of 1.5 million is a lot that currently needs to be explored by the Commission. Essentially, what you're seeing is that in that payment, where it is understood to be an alleged kickback, it seems that there may be something more sinister taking place in that particular payment, because what you do see is that Vusimuzi Canny Maphanga makes a payment of 1.5 million to the company of Suleiman Karim. Suleiman Karim then takes a third of that payment, that is 500,000 rands, and pays it to a company owned by Morgan Maumela, who is an individual whose name has come up in allegations of fraud and corruption in the Tembisa hospital scandal. Now, Suleiman Karim is having a difficult time trying to rationalize him being a middleman or a third point, if we could put it that way, in a payment from one party to the other. He's struggling to give an explanation as to why Vusimuzi Matlala would need him to make a payment to Morgan Maumela, which then leans towards the allegations of a tender fraud and that the SABC contract to the tune of 350 million rands could have been possibly alleged proceeds of crime and could have formed part of this larger network of a tender fraud alleged syndicate operating within the country that we've seen feature quite prominently in the SIU's investigations into the Tembisa Hospital scandal that has garnered the attention of the nation and beyond, regarding the extent to which these tenders were allegedly forming part of an alleged syndicate and network. So it seems that in this particular evidence, we're now going far beyond the scope of the alleged extent to which these criminal cartels had infiltrated the criminal justice system. But it seems it is possible through the evidence or what is emerging that allegedly that SABC contract could have formed part of this alleged tender syndicate network. And that is where Suleiman Karim may allegedly be more beneficial to the probe to explain exactly what these payments and transactions were about, because it's quite difficult to understand that why he needed Brown Mokgotsi to verify whether or not Vusimuzi Matlala indeed had a contract, and why he needed to invest money to that large amount of 10 million into a contract that he never saw, he never had an understanding of, and he didn't even know whether or not Vusimuzi Matlala had extensive experience in that particular space and business. And even to make matters worse, this was all taking place at a time where the reporting was already starting on the Tembisa Hospital scandal, and he would have known, at least from the articles in the press, that there was something off about this alleged cartel member being Vusimuzi Matlala, but he still insisted on doing quote-unquote business with him. And you see these various transactions that are passing through different hands and different companies, which raises questions as to why he needed to send that particular 10 million to that company of Vusimuzi Matlala. And in turn, once he received a first payment of 1.5 million rands, why a third of that particular payment needed to go from him to Morgan Maumela, and Vusimuzi Matlala did not send it directly to him, now leading us to further questions about alleged money laundering and tender fraud within the country that now involves allegedly the criminal justice system. So we are expecting that from 9:30 a.m. tomorrow morning, that cross-examination will continue, and it is unlikely from what we're seeing at this stage whether that version that Karim seeks to advance will be plausible or not before the commission. But instead, it looks like further evidence is now emerging, which leads us to a different path of how dark and sinister these alleged networks can be. All that and more tomorrow morning. Over to you in studio.
Canny, before I let you go, very quickly, for those that may have missed it, we saw, of course, that brief appearance and, of course, the postponement of his testimony, and that is a suspended EMPD Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi. Briefly speak to that appearance, Canny.
Indeed, Julius Mkhwanazi is one of those witnesses who was also subpoenaed to appear on this particular date before the commission. You may know that the commission is having a lot of issues with scheduling due to the number of postponements and, of course, how evidence runs over and other technicalities that do come up from time to time. So essentially, he did honor his subpoena, and he was expected to be rolled over to the 12th. That is, I think, on Thursday. However, he has come with new representation who are stating that they need more time to go through the evidence. So, of course, for that to be granted, you then need to bring a formal postponement application, which his lawyer did bring. And, of course, that was granted to the 23rd of March. And that gives us an indication that the commission is likely going to extend its work, because we know the current deadline sits at the 17th of March, but we're seeing the first witness being scheduled for the 23rd of March. And the commission is nowhere near done with phase 2 of its implicated persons who need to complete their testimony. So many people need to return, and so many people still need to come. So at least for now, we see that the work will extend much further than the 17th of March. It's all eyes on the presidency to see actually what that extension date will be. So we'll be monitoring that particular matter as we wait for the presidency to announce on that. But Julius Mkhwanazi is expected back on the 23rd of March, which extends beyond the initial 17th of March deadline.
Canny Maphanga on the Madlanga Commission, thank you so much for that. Of course, a comprehensive summary of what transpired today and what we're likely to see tomorrow. And as Canny said, the commission will likely be extended once more as the 17th of March deadline largely looms.